Imagine a football stadium packed with 125,000 people, and you are there with your family. You've got your two kids in front of you, ruffle their hair a bit. Your spouse is beside you, give her a hug. On this side, you've got your father, give him a fist bump. Your two friends are behind you, give them a chest bump. And when the wave comes through, do the wave. And down on the field, you've got on one side the New York Yankees, and on the other side, the Miami Heat. It's the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded, 2 out. I have no idea what that means. But down on the field, they have a timeout. And you decide to head down and attend to the call of nature. So you go down, you attend to the call of nature. And then you go and grab a couple of beers, and you come running up through that tunnel, and the sunlight hits you. Now, just imagine that while you're gone, a couple of young men, 3 or 4 young men, walked into that stadium armed with assault rifles and opened fire. What would happen to your family? How would you feel? Think about that first Thanksgiving without them. No kids running around. Your spouse is not sitting in the corner drinking a little too much and getting tipsy. Your father is not on the side arguing about politics. How do you feel? Now think about this. The average funeral today costs $7,500. But if you're injured, a gunshot injury on average will cost you $95,000. So you get to live with the pain and the suffering of gun violence, and you get to pay the cost. Let's go back to that stadium. Got a stadium of 125,000 people. This year, the equivalent of 1/3 of those people will lose their lives to gun violence. The other 2/3 will be seriously injured. Now some people will say, oh, but 22,000 of them are suicides. Well, suicide is not a peaceful death. It rips families apart. On the 14th of December, 2012, I was sitting in my computer room. My wife came into the room, and she was quite distraught. And she said, there's been a shooting at a school. And I went into the living room, and I started watching it over the course of that day. The death toll rose. 20 elementary school children lost their lives, along with 6 teachers. I turned to my wife, and I said, this changes everything. Finally, we will do something. No nation can allow children to be massacred and do nothing. I was wrong. I was wrong. Not only did we do nothing, we actually argued about whether people had the right to do this, to bear these arms. These children were just collateral damage. A young man walked into a school, armed with an assault rifle, and took the lives of 20 children and 6 adults, and we did nothing. But people say, but it's not an assault rifle. What is an assault rifle? I spent 2.5 years in the South African military. I was in military intelligence, and we all know that that is a contradiction in terms. One thing I had to do was to carry an assault rifle. And I grew to know this weapon intimately, because I had to strip it down and clean it with a toothbrush. Now, I didn't fire it very much, but when we did, we used to go down to the firing range. We were given 1 round by our sergeant. When you were told to, you put that round into the magazine. When you were told to, you put that magazine into the rifle. When you were told to, you got the rifle. And when you were told to, you aimed and fired. And when you were finished, the sergeant would come around and make sure that you had fired the round. You'd have to pull the thing back and you could see whether the round was there or not. So everything was very, very carefully controlled. When I left the military, I believed I knew everything there was to know about firearms. So what did I do? I went out and I bought one. My mother had to sign for it. 3 weeks later, I got my firearm. I got it home, loaded it up. And I took the magazine and slammed it into the weapon, and I cocked the weapon. I put it on half cock, and I put it into my holster. I was now going to protect my family. And I carried it for 3 weeks, like that. And then one day I walked into my bedroom, and I happened to bump against the door jamb. And it went off. Fortunately, my leg was forward, so the round went palms deep into the floor. I still kept this thing for 14 years. Okay, so what's the point of all this? What do we do? We talk a lot about rights, but what do we do to end the problem? There must be a solution. What is that solution? Before you can come up with a solution, this is a long speech. Before you can come up with a solution, you have to acknowledge the problem. And we as a country haven't acknowledged the problem. We're like drug addicts. We're addicted to something and we haven't yet admitted it. First, you have to understand the problem. Back in the 14th century, Europe was rocked by the Black Death, bubonic plague. Now back then they didn't know what caused bubonic plague, so they started to blame various things. First, they went after the beggars, then they went after the lepers, and then, of course, they went after the Jews. And then they started casting out demons and burning people at the stake, and they killed the cats. Now, we know today that the plague is caused by a bacterium called Yersinia pestis, and Yersinia pestis is carried by fleas. And fleas love things that are unhygienic. And people were not very hygienic because they didn't have indoor plumbing. So, Yersinia pestis was the proximate cause of this. And it's carried by fleas, which are carried by humans. But because we'd killed the cats, we now had a problem with the rats, because people used to throw their garbage out of the window, which encouraged the rats. So because we killed the cats, we had an explosion of rats. What has this got to do with firearms? We'll be doing the same thing today. When there's a problem with firearms, we have a massacre. What do? We blame video games. We blame mental illness. We blame the breakdown of society. None of these things have anything at all to do with gun violence. What does it have to do with? We have too many firearms. Why do we have too many firearms? Because we've killed the cats. We've taken the laws and thrown them out, and we have this explosion of firearms. So what do? What is the solution to the problem? I haven't yet given you the solution. I've said that you have to acknowledge the problem. We haven't done that yet. But let's say that we've acknowledged the problem, we understand the problem. What do? The answer is very simple. Insurance. Everybody should get insurance. Why should the victims pay? Why should society pay? People who own firearms should pay. So what we need is insurance. And how is this insurance going to work? In South Africa, we had something called third-party insurance. And the way this worked, it was a levy on fuel. So when you went and filled up your car, a certain proportion was taken and put into a pool. So if you had an accident with someone that was uninsured, you would take from this pool. You can do exactly the same thing. People should be compelled to get insurance for firearms. And the way this will work is this. A certain portion of that insurance will go into a pool. If you're injured or someone in your family is killed, you go to this pool and you get paid out. You don't go and sue the insurance company, you go to the pool. So all your expenses are covered. So the victims are now covered. And the reason that this will work is that if you have 10 firearms, you'll be charged more than someone that has 1 fire. If you use certain types of ammunition, if you use certain types of firearm, you will be charged more. And the reason it works even more than this is that when the insurance companies understand that the cost of gun violence is incredibly high. I mean, just the medical costs, about $4.3 billion a year, but the ongoing costs of treating people and the pain and suffering amounts to somewhere near $100 billion a year. When they do that, the cost of owning firearms will go up dramatically, and people will stop getting firearms. It's quite simple. In this way, everybody gets what they want. People get to keep their firearms. People get to reduce the number of firearms on the street, and so on. Everything works. Government gets out of the business of taking firearms away, the insurance companies will do it instead. This will solve the problem. So let's go back to that stadium. Imagine that you run up through that tunnel and the noise of the crowd washes over you, and you go up to your family and you hug your spouse, fist bump your father, and you ruffle the hair on your kids' heads. Everything is great because we did the right thing. So my greatest desire is that this year, 38,000 people will keep their lives. My greatest desire is that this year, 85,000 people will never know the pain and suffering and cost of gun violence. My greatest desire is that little boys and little girls can go to school without the fear that someone will walk into their school and take their lives.